and welcome back to From the Pitch to Purpose. And you know what? I've been gone for a few weeks, and I apologize. Life be lifing, but also I needed to take some time to figure some stuff out. But today I am here, I am present, I am excited to be talking to you, and I wanted to chat a little bit about just how it feels, a little bit about how it feels to be me in today's world. So if you haven't listened to any of the former podcasts, then you do not know that I am a 35-year-old widow with a 3-year-old daughter. I am named Samantha Brand. That is the official government name, but everybody calls me Sammie. Sammie B, Sam, Samwise Gamgee, Sammers, all those nicknames. I truly, truly love when people give me nicknames, and people have given me nicknames my whole life. My dad called me Squirt. That's probably one of my favorite. I think that I don't know any other 35-year-old widows. I became widowed at 32, 34, 5, 31, 32, right before I turned 33, I think. Time has literally felt like not a real thing, so it's hard for me to pinpoint what age I was. But yeah, very early in life, and I was also a very late mother. So I had an 11-month-old baby when I became widowed. And so I was obviously struggling with newborn everything, teething and sleep regressions and all those things. And then, my husband passes during a time when I think I needed him the most as a mother. I was just getting out of the postpartum depression and anxiety. I had a lot of postpartum anxiety, actually. But in reality, all I really know is that if I did not have that child, I'm not sure that I would have had the willpower to get out of bed and to just function in society through tragedy. Honestly, my daughter would cry so that I would get up and feed her, and that is what brought me out of bed. And I think it's really strange that I can attribute so much of my healing to such a small child. And I've written many poems about them. Maybe I'll read one of them at the end of this, but to them. I've attributed many poems to this exact fact that my daughter was the ray of sunshine. And she was so tiny, but she helped my entire family, my husband's family, just see so much beauty during such a horrible, dark time. And I haven't really shared much about how he passed away. And I think when I get asked that in mixed company, and I get asked that in situations where I don't feel comfortable talking about it, I usually tell people he died from COVID. I think that's a safe bet for me because honestly, COVID changed our lives. We had a baby during COVID. I had her in 2020, and we all know that the world turned upside down in 2020. And I believe that without COVID, I'd still have had my husband. I would have definitely been with him, and I would have definitely been able to, I don't know, I think we would have been able to be a very good partnership within such a great time. We would have done all the things that we hoped for. I also want to tell you about my husband is that he was an extremist. He was someone who was really, really happy or really, really low. And so with parenthood, when we were excited, so excited to have a baby, he was so stoked. He was excited, and everything about him was just oozing happiness. He was so happy it was a girl. He wanted a girl so badly. We even had a bet going. I wanted a little boy, but don't tell my daughter. Actually, I got best of both worlds because she is as adventurous as all of the toddler boys that I've ever met in my life. But she is sassy like a girl. Actually, sassy like a boy, too. I don't think sassiness is gendered. But I also think that she has a lot of amazing, beautiful female qualities in her. And so he wanted a girl so badly, and he got exactly what he wanted. And he was so excited to be a father. And I believe that when COVID hit, all of that excitement and all of those expectations came down on him so hard. And when I say that my husband's an extremist, it's because he suffered from addiction to substances. And so it's something where a lot of people have very, very negative connotations when it comes to people who deal with addiction. And honestly, if you know someone with addiction, those all go out the window, because to love an addict is something that very few are called to do. I was called in spades. I was called to love him thoroughly. I was called to love him entirely. And I did that to the best of my ability. And for someone like me, I had a lot of self-worth issues growing up. I am a Black woman, so I grew up in a world in which I was not told I was the most pretty person in the room. I was not told that I was the beauty standard in society. And so I had a lot of self-worth issues. So I honestly, the way that he loved me was so, it was so fantastic, because he just loved me. And I didn't have to pretend to be anyone that I wasn't. And I think that through that, he truly got to be loved back by someone who I love very, very hard. And so when he told me about his addiction, and he was very honest from the beginning, I don't want you guys to think in any way that he ever tried to deceive me and made me think that I didn't know anything about this. He told me about it, but I had no frame of reference. I had zero frame of reference for anything substance abuse related, because my parents didn't even drink alcohol with me, like growing up. They didn't even drink alcohol. We were heavily into the church, so I didn't even have a parent who came home and had a beer or had wine at the end of a long day. It wasn't around me. Nothing was around me. Those substances were not around me. So if you would have lined up 10 drugs in front of me and told me to name them, I would not be able to tell you what any of them are, even to this day. A little bit more to this day, because I've done a lot of research since his passing, but I was not exposed to it. So he told me that he had a problem with addiction. He told me that there's a possibility of a relapse to happen in the future. He told me all these things, but I had zero idea. And even if I would have researched till I was blue in the face, I still wouldn't have understood what that meant. I was already madly in love with him. And this was, to me, at my age, dating in your 30s, someone that you date is going to have some sort of something, some sort of baggage, some sort of things that they're carrying with them. And to me, this was his. And the type of foundation that we were laying with each other, I just thought there's no way we wouldn't beat this together, but that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. And I know that in retrospect, but I didn't know that then. And even if I did know that, I'm pretty sure I would have made the same decisions, because I was meant to be the love of his life. I was meant to be the person who, loved him fiercely for the last years of his life, And so he told me these things, and I remember it didn't sink in until I was actually pregnant. And he sat me down. He said something to me, and he said, "But you know that I really could relapse at any time, right?" And I looked him in the eye, and I saw like a different future than I thought. And we were already living together at this point. We were already planning our own wedding. Or no, actually, we were already planning, a child. We were planning to be a family. I was already very invested in the situation. And I don't think it even clicked then. Did it scare me a little bit more? Yeah. Did I believe him a little bit more? Yeah. But that's because his behavior started changing when I got pregnant, because he was scared. And his fear response in the past would have been to turn to a substance. And so he was holding it together as much as he could. But when I tell you that COVID rocked his world, everything he was holding on to, all of his greatest dreams, he wanted to take that newborn baby everywhere. He wanted to travel to Africa with her. He wanted to go everywhere with her. And even just get on a train and go to a friend's house. We wanted to do those things and we could not. COVID kept us from leaving our apartment. And we had a tiny little baby who was relying on us to stay healthy, and we had to be there for her. And so I think that, that's a lot. It's a lot for me to talk about, but also I know that there's someone out there maybe who hears this and might feel a little less alone and feel like they also love an addict, and maybe they can, chat with me about it. I am open. You guys could always go to my Instagram page. It's SAMMIEBEE14. You can always come there and chat with me. I'm very open with my story. I'm very open with my love for him. I'm very open with, my life now, because I just know I didn't have someone to look to when I became a 30-something-year-old young widow with a child. And I joined groups and I tried so hard to relate and I couldn't. So if there's someone out there that can relate, great. And also through watching my husband go through relapse after relapse, I just didn't know who to talk to about it. I didn't have someone I can turn to. So if I could be that someone for you, please message me. You can also find me on Facebook, same thing, SAMMIEBEE14. You can find me there. You can also find me on TikTok, same place, SAMMIEBEE14. You could find me there and you could talk with me. You can reach out, and I'm very affable. I'm very easy to talk to. I'm very understanding. I don't scare easily. You can tell me your scary, stories, and I'll be there for you. And honestly, this is the way I needed to come back into this space. And I'm very grateful that you're listening to this. I'm very grateful that you have taken the time to just hear kind of a rough thing. I'm going to definitely put a trigger warning on this episode, because speaking of these things is one of the saddest parts of my story, is that I just haven't had enough safe spaces. And so I'm creating one right here. And I know it's heavy. And I know that speaking about drugs is faux pas still in society. But I want you to hear me say that my husband was an amazing man. And he suffered so much from this disease. And I think that death by addiction and death by overdose and death by suicide have this really, really horrible, horrible negative reaction from people, because we somehow think in some twisted way that the person had a hand in it. And that is just untrue. There's a chemical imbalance in people that lead them. I mean, addiction is a symptom of, and that's something that he taught me. He told me addiction is a symptom of something. He had a lot of social anxiety. He had a lot of, things going on in his life. So I want you to feel safe in this space, but I also am not going to hide my story. I'm not going to hide anymore, because I so badly want people to feel that they are not alone. And I've said this a million times, and I will always say it again. Grief is universal. My grief is not greater than your grief. Your grief is not greater than the person next to you. Me losing my husband was my big grief, and it is my cross to bear and to sift through and to learn from and to grow from and to shine from and to come out of with beauty and grace. But your grief might literally be a breakup. Your grief might be losing your dog, a hamster. It might be losing, a piece of yourself you thought you always had. Your grief might be smaller in your eyes than mine, but I'm giving you permission to let it be big and to go through it and go straight at it with courage. I'm giving you that permission, because all grief is valid, big or small. You could have literally gotten a B on a test and grieve about that, and I will support you through that, I love you. I love you so much, and I'm so happy that you're here. And if no one's told you today, I'm proud of you, and you are just going to have the best day. Say it with me. I'm going to have a good day. I hope that you believe that. That's all. And go tell someone they're awesome today. Bye.